Today on Parents Uncharted, we are joined by Ben Gillenwater, known online as the Family IT Guy. Ben is a cybersecurity and digital safety expert who has spent the past few years helping parents understand how modern platforms work, especially the ones marketed to our children. He's been one of the most consistent and clear voices raising concerns about Roblox. From its design and monetization to the real-world risks it poses for kids, I invited Ben on today to help us cut through the marketing, explain what Roblox really is, talk about all the concerning headlines we saw in 2025, and about what parents need to know about the platform right now. So Ben, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome, Sarah. Thanks for having me.
Honestly, it was a little tough to decide what I wanted to talk to you about because I feel that you are just a wealth of knowledge on so many subjects, and there are so many topics worthy of your voice and conversation. But looking back on the past year, 2025, Roblox really stood out to me. And
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, before you came online with the Family IT Guy presence, were you aware of Roblox? How much did you know?
I knew nothing about it. I had barely even ever heard of it. And then people started asking me, I'm trying to remember when it was. I released a couple of videos early and people were like, yeah, what do you think about Roblox? I was like, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, I think that's very relatable to a lot of parents, eh?
I think so too. And that to me gives me so much empathy for everybody, because I've been doing the IT thing for 30 years. I am, objectively speaking, an expert in the computer space.
Yep.
And I understand these systems deeply, but there's a million things to know about. Roblox is one of them.
Yeah.
And if you go down the rabbit hole, if you even scratch the surface and you do a Google search, or you ask ChatGPT, or you go on my website and you ask my little chat bot, what about Roblox? It is a universe of its own. And
Truly.
almost in a literal sense, because the game is so big, and we'll talk about what that means. But so, yeah, I had no idea. And then I started looking into it and I played it myself, and I was shocked, taken aback at what I found. And if you'd like, I could tell that story. I know I've kind of, I talk about it here and there, but it might be worth rehashing.
Oh, we will definitely be rehashing, but I thought we could take this since before you came online, you weren't really aware. Before I came online, I wasn't really aware. My children were pretty young, so I hadn't been in the world where I was being asked about Roblox and things like that. So I thought that we could take it for new listeners and those who are unfamiliar with the game and kind of just start with the basics on what Roblox actually is. So I think a lot of parents just assume it's another kid game, but how would you accurately describe what this game is?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's very unique. And I'll say it's very amazing. It's a fantastic, in and of itself, it's a fantastic game. It's actually a gaming system. And so Roblox is a container for something on the order of like 40 million games.
Wow.
So the games themselves, the reason the thing is so powerful is because the games are made by other people. So the games are made by other players. It's what is referred to as user-generated content. And what's amazing about it is that it's a software system that allows kids and adults alike to learn how to build software and build games.
Interesting.
And so it's very educational. It's a very robust programming system that makes programming accessible. And when you want to learn how to write code, which is really the process of learning advanced problem solving, so for people that are really into math or into problem solving or into troubleshooting or into building things, you can get into the software development world by learning how to build games in Roblox. And a lot of people have. I mean, there's 40 million games. And And so, yeah, so it's a user-generated content platform. And oftentimes we see user-generated content in social media systems.
Mm-hmm.
The user-generated content are posts, right? Anytime you post something to Instagram, that's considered user-generated content.
Yep.
Or Reddit. Reddit is all user-generated content. It's just people making stuff, typing stuff, right?
Yep.
So in this case, it's the games themselves, and then in the games even there's user-generated content. So I think that from the perspective of parents, how we look at games overall, and with respect to the idea of like, hey, I didn't know what Roblox was, you didn't know what Roblox was. So you're coming across a new game. Your kid comes home today after school and says, hey, I want to play a game
Mm-hmm.
X, whatever it might be, Roblox, Fortnite, Minecraft, maybe something altogether different. How do you decide, like, what are the principles at play?
Yep.
What filters can you look at it through? And I want to start there for a second, just to establish a baseline for how can we assess these systems as parents. And in the gaming world specifically, there's two things that are dangerous. One is the most dangerous. So that the most dangerous is online chat.
Yeah.
Online chat is where predators hunt for kids. It's a terrible thing to say. It's a terrible concept to even think about, but it is very much the current reality.
Happens every day.
It happens every day. It happens at such a scale that every police officer I've spoken with, including police officers that have worked for the Internet Crimes Against Children task forces that exist in different states in the U.S., and the psychologists I've spoken with that specialize in helping families recover from trauma from predators like these, they all say the same thing. If you put your kid on a system that has online chat, they 100%, without exception, will be targeted by predators.
Wow.
Now, that doesn't mean that 100% will be victimized.
Yes.
100% of them will be targeted and considered for whether or not they might become a victim.
Yeah.
So this is it's a big deal. It's not something that can be taken, in my opinion, that can be taken for granted, or that should be taken for granted. So online chat is where that happens. And online chat for kids should be avoided as a result.
Yep.
And it's very unfortunate because there's friends that can be made, there's hobbies that can be shared, there's games that can be played, there's fun that can be had. But the risk is high.
Yeah.
So that's number one. Number two is user-generated content, which is a thing in some games, many games not so, but it's something to look for. Because when strangers can create things, whether they be the games themselves or the things in the games or the posts on social media or whatever it might be, those things may or may not be appropriate for kids of different ages.
I think that leads really well into your experience when you created a Roblox account for an 8-year-old. And if I remember correctly, you'll tell the story, but if I remember correctly, you put it with the highest parental settings, security settings that there was. And what happened there, Ben?
What happened was that, yes, I registered as an 8-year-old boy. And what happened was that the user-generated content, the games in the Roblox system, were not effectively filtered. And so I set the parental controls to their highest settings, and my 8-year-old player profile was still shown sexual games, violent games, and I mean not sexual undertones, not violent undertones. I mean explicitly sexual.
Games.
For example, the one that really tops the list is a game called Public Bathroom.
Oh, God.
There's actually a bunch of games called Public Bathroom in the Roblox world. Some of them are filtered out. And by filtered, by the way, this is where Roblox has a lot of problems.
Okay.
Roblox shows the 8-year-olds and the 5-year-olds and the 10-year-olds and so on. They show everybody all
Yep.
the games. No matter what your parental control settings are set to, all the kids see all the games with their thumbnails and their names and their descriptions. The only thing that changes if you have the parental controls on for the ones that get filtered, which as I'll describe shortly, they don't all get filtered, is there's a padlock over it and you can't play it, but you can
Okay.
still see it. So it's like if you remember the Blockbuster video and like,
Oh,
you go rent a
yes.
VHS back in the day.
Yeah, definitely.
And then most of the video stores, in fact, maybe not Blockbuster, maybe it was the mom and pop video stores, in the back was the room with the porn.
Oh, yeah, the curtain room.
The curtain, right?
Yeah.
Now, it had a curtain because it's not necessarily in everybody's family's values to show their kids the pictures of what's on the cover of all the movies.
Yes. Understandable.
Now, Roblox apparently doesn't believe that that should be the case. They show the covers of the movies.
Oh.
They show the covers of the games. They show the names of the games.
Okay.
And so the kids can see that, which I think in and of itself is problematic.
Yes.
Now, much more problematic are the games that slip through the cracks. So I got to play one of the public bathroom games as an 8-year-old. I go into this, I click to play. It drops me into this big indoor swimming pool room. It's like, you guys have YMCA?
Yeah, we got YMCA up here.
Yeah, so like some of the YMCAs here in Idaho have these big indoor pools.
Yes, same.
It reminds me of that.
Okay.
So huge area, massive pools, right? You go into this room and then there's beds around the edges of the room surrounding the pool.
Okay.
And then on the beds are other characters, other players humping each other.
Oh my gosh, Ben.
And making noises. And then it's in stereo. So as you walk by, the noises, as you get closer to a given bed with players on it, the noises increase. And then as you walk to the other bed, those noises increase. And it's all surround sound.
Now, may I ask a question as somebody who is, never logged on to Roblox before? As say you did have, as an 8-year-old boy, those chat settings in place, would you be able to pick up a chat with those people who are humping in this public bathroom?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for answering that.
Now, to Roblox's credit, if you're honest about your age when you sign up, they will disable chat if you're young. So I will give them that because that is very, very important.
And is this a new feature or has this always been with Roblox? Because, they've been making changes. So has this always been the case?
I think this is like a legacy feature. It's been around for a little while.
Okay.
It's not one of the new ones because, in 2025, they made like over 100 changes to their safety systems.
Yeah, which we'll get into for sure.
Yes. And so, but there was still communication occurs in Roblox outside of the built-in chat system. So the game developers, the other players that make the games, can actually build their own communication systems. You can even have games that have movies in the games. And those movies are chosen by other players.
Okay.
And don't have filters.
Oh.
And so you can have games in which there are like chalkboards and stuff where you could draw and write to each other. So the game, even if you disable chat, it still facilitates very risky communication. And that's why, one of the reasons why so many kids fall victim to predators on Roblox, even with chat disabled. They just need enough communication to get you outside the game to go talk to them on Discord.
Yes. Yes, which is one of the number one go-to things when they're trying to get to our kids is to get off these games and go mainly over to Discord, would you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And Roblox facilitates that.
Like they make it easy to connect your Discord?
Yeah. In fact, on a lot of their web pages, they have links to Discord so that you can go over there.
Okay. And just for those listeners who might not be aware of what Discord is, could you briefly describe what Discord is?
Yeah, Discord is a chat system it's a chat specific system. It's just for chatting with other people.
Okay.
And you can have private chat areas and you can have public chat areas. It's very popular and it's not all bad. Discord is just a place to communicate. And so there are a bunch of companies have Discord servers where you can go and do customer service or chat with other people that are customers or whatever it might be. And then there's also a whole bunch of private chat areas where bad stuff happens.
Yep.
And so
Okay.
it's just it's a communication platform and it's very popular.
Do they have age limits?
I don't know about their age limits.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
We'll look into it and put it in the show notes.
Yeah. Yeah. I should check that out too. It's, I look at it with a fairly broad brush when it comes to kids because it's an anonymous chat system. And so it's just like, it's dangerous for kids to be in any anonymous chat system.
Yes. I've seen some pretty heavy things on Discord myself that I would not wish for any child to see.
Yeah. And so I'm walking around this swimming pool with the beds and the characters humping each other and making noises. And I actually recorded myself playing the game and it's on my TikTok and my Instagram and you can hear all these noises if you'd like. It's like it'll get you. It makes its point pretty quickly. And then I walk out of because it is after all called public bathroom and I wasn't in the bathroom. I was in a swimming pool. So then I walked into the bathroom area of the swimming pool and first I went by the bathroom stalls and there's people like going in and out of the bathroom stalls together. And then I walked into the shower. They had showers and bathtubs and they had like curtains you could draw in the bathtubs and people are going in and out of the bathtubs and humping each other and stuff in the bathtubs. And so this is a game that an 8-year-old profile was able to play and Roblox lets kids register as young as 5.
Wow. That's
when you
young.
sign up on their website. Yeah. And what's interesting is that they're on the Apple App Store, the game is shown as a 13 plus. But the Roblox website allows registering as young as 5. And I often wonder to myself, like, hey, Apple is historically pretty tight on regulating the apps in the App Store. Mm-hmm. And it seems to me that Roblox is not being honest about their App Store listing.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
It'd be nice if Apple actually just took them down.
Yeah.
But it's one of the biggest games in the world. It's a pretty popular platform. So maybe Apple is not so quick to do that. I don't know. But
I would think so.
So, yeah, and then I played a game called Rob Mom where it dropped me into a room and up on a big projector in the room was the name of the richest person. And then you're supposed to go kill that person.
Oh.
And so it's like teaching kids that like, hey, wealthy people are evil and we should kill them. Maybe there's more nuance to that than is shown in the game that kids should be learning. You know?
But for an 8-year-old, right, it's going to be pretty black and white, right, in regard to lessons being taught, right? They definitely don't understand nuance, right?
Yes. And then I got a gun in the room I was dropped into. They had a gun. So then I got a gun and then there was an Apple store and I went to the Apple store and I shot the employees and then the cops came and then they shot me. And then
this is a lot, Ben. This is, and how long is this? Like, so at this point you're shooting the employees and you've been on the game for how long?
Oh, like 2 minutes.
Wow.
I mean,
it moves fast. You can move fast around those worlds.
And then I thought, okay, look, I'm going out and I'm looking for games. I'm doing what I would do as an 8-year-old boy. I'm going to go find all the craziest stuff. And then, so I was like, let me play a regular game. So I played a regular game and you go around a city and there's neighborhoods and stuff. And I go into a neighborhood and then some other character comes around and then all of a sudden my character was crucified and I had like this. And then I had my wrists were bleeding and my chest was bleeding and I'm sitting there floating in the air crucified. And then they picked me up and carried me into their house. And then I was in their house, and then they went upstairs and they came back down dressed as a police officer, and then they shot me in the back.
And they
And
don't
then,
know, like, do they know that your avatar is like coming from an 8-year-old boy, or you're in this grouping with other aged kids?
yeah, you can't tell. It's just other players. You don't know
Okay.
who's who.
Okay.
And that's one of the dangerous parts about these systems
Yes.
is you don't know who's who.
Yeah, that's
and
very concerning.
Yeah, for kids, kids are kind of innocent by default, right? They might think that, well, if we're playing a game with other players, that they're just other kids and they're just normal kids and they're not creeps or predators or, 40-year-old men trying to screw up kids,
Yeah.
so. And then, and there's other stuff too that, I like to think about how family values map to technology.
Okay.
Technology is
more.
like a super broad. And so, like, specifically, if we have family values, let's say for me, right? Like, my family values, generally speaking, are safety, health, kindness, love. Everything designed around a positive future.
Yes.
A future that respects other people by default, a future that respects ourselves as individuals by default. And there's a game in Roblox. It's one of the most popular games in the thing. It's one of the things that's suggested to new players first, is this game called Dress to Impress.
Okay.
Or people call it DTI. And Dress to Impress, my 8-year-old boy character was transformed into a little girl character that was in underwear.
Oh.
And my little girl character, now walking around in underwear, was meant to shop for different clothes so that I could dress up and then go compete based on how my character looks against other characters. And then all the players would rank each other in attractiveness.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I have a son. I have a 10-year-old son in real life.
Yes. not in Roblox.
And I explicitly teach my son about respecting, like I was saying, respecting himself, respecting others. And specifically, we have conversations on respecting girls and respecting women.
Yes. As we need to do. All of us raising boys.
Yes, absolutely. And it's about that we value each other based on the contents of our character, based on what's inside. The most important thing is based on what's inside. And how do we make each other feel? And do we feel respected? Do we feel supported? Do we feel friendship?
Yes.
And we specifically, one of the things I talked to him about, and with the family values thing, this is just me expressing my values, is that we don't, for example, have physical contact with girls. If we have cousins and things that, my kid has cousins that are girls. It's okay to hug your cousins when you say hi and bye. And like past that, like the way we respect each other is by not having any physical contact. And we can have conversations and we can play and enjoy and have a good time. And so that's kind of the theme. And so this game, Dress to Impress, like did not sit well with me. I don't like I have nieces of different ages that I don't want them to play that game either. I don't want them to think about their value in terms of they're getting ranked by strangers based on their attractiveness. Like what? I don't even want that implanted in their mind.
Honestly, Ben, it just makes me think of kind of like a kid's prequel to getting online a little, because so much of being on social media is about aesthetics and how you look and how you present to the world. And I think it's a really hard thing to think that children would log into this game and one of the first games they're being fed is dress to impress. How do you look? That's what matters.
Yes. And you get ranked higher if you have a shorter skirt, if you have a smaller shirt,
Yeah.
you know. And so okay. So that was my experience playing the game. It was, now there are 40 million games. There's a whole bunch of games that may not be problematic, but their filtering system doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
They've implemented 100 new safety features in 2025 alone, all of which are smokescreens. They're not addressing the core problems. They're talking about all this AI, all this age estimation. If you want to turn on chat, you have to let them scan your face with a 3D scan. Like terrible, terrible stuff that none of that is necessary. All they need to do is one thing. They need to respect parental authority and build one feature that does so. And that would be called a whitelisting feature. Or if they want to call it, whitelisting is like a technical term for nothing is approved except for what the parents approve.
Yes, I do. I've heard you talk about this on your social media feeds. I think you were comparing it to YouTube. Am I correct in there?
Yes.
How YouTube
Yes.
has a whitelist? So please, yes, let's explain this in detail to listeners.
Yeah. So, right. So YouTube Kids, its one saving grace is that it has a feature that's hard to find that's called approved content only mode. And it is meant for parents to go in and say, I'm okay with my kid watching this channel and this playlist and these specific videos and nothing else.
Okay.
And it's pretty cool, actually, and it works. And you can even go into a channel and say, I'm okay with my kid watching this one channel, except for these videos in that channel. Like you can really filter it down. And then that's all the kids can see. They can't see anything outside of that. And so Roblox could build an approved games mode where they could craft a whole ecosystem of positivity to where they could have parenting groups where parents come together and say, yeah, these are the 5 games that are awesome.
Okay.
We know the developer, we've interviewed the developer. The game doesn't have anything sketchy. It doesn't have any communication features. It doesn't have any murdering and sexual and all this other stuff. And we like the game, and then we put it up on the web, and then everybody knows that you can approve those 5 games if you have young kids. And then all of a sudden, Roblox becomes safe for kids.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, Roblox is not safe for kids.
So would your recommendation as an IT expert keep your kids off Roblox? Are there any exceptions? Where do you draw the line there?
I really enjoy nuance, and my current opinion with Roblox is that there's no room for nuance.
Yeah.
And that kids should not play Roblox. And it's twofold. It's that it's not safe for kids, that their filters are ineffective. The parental authority is not a consideration apparently in their system. And second, the only thing that really matters to any company is revenue and profitability.
Yes.
And the signal from the market that what you're doing is okay is whether or not you're profitable. Now, if you're a public company, the more important signal is your stock value, and the stock value is driven by public perception. And so David Baszucki is the CEO of Roblox. David's number one job is to maximize shareholder value. Anytime the CEO of any public company, that's their number one job above all else. Because the shareholders are their investors, and they need investment to keep going. And the only signal that we can meaningfully send to any company that we like or dislike what they're doing is whether or not we give them our money.
Yes.
Now, Roblox is actually free to play, but the reason it's free is because they sell Robux, which is like an in-game currency.
That was going to be my next question. Can you tell us about Robux, what it is, how it's used. I'd like to know more.
Yeah. So yeah, you can like upgrade your characters and you can buy stuff in the games, and the developers of the games share in the monetization. So the game developers of the big games are actually making pretty good money
Oh, they get a
on taking
cut.
a piece of the
Okay.
pie. Yeah. It's a really smart, that's the thing. Like this whole thing it's really brilliant. Like the team at Roblox is really overall doing an amazing job, and they have 112 million people a day that play the game.
That's insane.
And it's something like 30 or 40 million of those are under 13.
That's a huge amount of the population.
Yeah. And that's why it's so important to have these conversations, is because for those of us that don't know, like now you know.
Yes. Yes.
And so the in-game currency is the thing. And that's the business model. And what it is that they know that a certain percentage of players, if you spend enough time on the game, you'll buy Robux. And by the way, they tried to sell my 8-year-old character $200 in Robux, like right away.
What are the parental controls in regard to that? Like, I'm just thinking, is it like the App Store where if you don't have something toggled, your kids can buy whatever apps? Like, what's the security on that?
Yeah, you have to go in and turn it off. But by default, right away, it was like $199. They tried to get me. And I'm like, whoa, you're hitting an 8-year-old with a $200 thing, like straight off the bat, and
they weren't even going low. They were just throwing haymakers on that one.
Go for it. And what that means is that they've run the experiment and run all the tests and found out that works. That's why they do it that way. So every day they're running tests. What converts better, $199 or $149 or $249 or $99? And
yeah,
that would indicate that $199 works, which means that lots of kids are buying that.
That's so much money.
Right?
Especially,
that's heavy.
And you're talking in USD. I'm over here in Canadian doing the exchange thinking like, that's like $250.
Yeah.
And what does it get you? It will get you like a new outfit. It will get you like a better performing avatar.
Stuff like that. Like every game's different. And then like the different developers will offer different things,
Okay.
Yeah, so Roblox is crushing it. I mean, they're like, I forget what their annual revenue is, but it's I think
billions.
It's double-digit billions.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, after the last Sean Ryan podcast with Ryan Montgomery, where they talked about Roblox lost $6 billion in stock value in the same day.
That doesn't surprise me because they had a disastrous year when it came to, accountability, in my opinion, and public scrutiny and controversy. I actually have a few of the headlines here from Rolling Stone. Roblox banned a creator for hunting pedophiles and critics are pissed. I know you can talk to that one, right? You talked to Schlep,
yes.
I think. Yeah. Another one was a real life nightmare for kids. Roblox faces multiple lawsuits over child safety. LA Times, if I remember correctly, there are 3 to 4 states suing the developers, and there are, I think, almost 80 active lawsuits across
something
the
like
U.S.
That, yeah.
Something like that. So, and I could go on with headlines, but I want to cycle back there specifically to the story regarding Roblox banned a creator for hunting pedophiles. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So there's this guy Schlep. He goes by Schlep, and he was I don't know if this is the exact right term. He was like a Roblox ambassador when he was 10.
10.
He played the game a bunch, and he was really active in the game, and he was interested in developing his own games. And he was I'm trying to remember his specific stories, but he was involved in like some of Roblox's events. And
he was a popular gamer for Roblox, it seems like.
And then he went to an event and met one of the developers of his favorite games. And then so he was like, oh wow, this is like meeting a celebrity, like a kid getting to meet a celebrity in his mind, And long story short, that developer ended up exploiting Schlep. And Schlep tried to commit suicide. He ended up in the hospital, I think when he was 14 or something like that.
It's a heartbreaking story.
It's terrible.
He's doing well now. He's doing well now.
Yes, and so like his mom, him and his mom both reported to Roblox like, hey, here's what's going on, whatever, and Roblox just blew them off.
Yeah.
All that to say, he comes back around and says, okay, cool, now I'm going to go find these people, the people like this. And he's gotten
who are
a bunch
harming
of people
kids on
arrested.
the platform.
Yeah, let me go find the creeps because Roblox isn't doing it. So let me go do it. And so he's gotten, as of last year, he got 6 people arrested, and I believe more since. There's him and his friend Gideon actually record these things where they go and they meet up with these people. And then they bring the cops and stuff. And sometimes the cops actually refuse to even arrest the people, but sometimes they do arrest them.
Okay.
And it goes to show how hard it is to do the whole like kind of vigilante thing, because sometimes it actually makes things worse. Sometimes it works. It depends how you do it. And so now Schlep he's involved in a documentary with Chris Hansen. He was on stage at an event called Crime Con with Chris Hansen where they spoke about the whole thing. There's a whole bunch of states, U.S. states that are suing Roblox, like you said. I'm actually talking to some of the attorneys that are working on those things.
Are they feeling like they will be successful? Is it hard to go after these massive gaming companies?
I would imagine that it is. It's probably really difficult to get really tight evidence. I think it probably depends on how their subpoena process goes with getting the information from Roblox internally. They'd have to subpoena Roblox, I imagine they have, and say, hey, we need these logs and these access things and to know who's who.
And it's families going after billion-dollar corporations, right? We often know how that usually goes.
Yeah, and Roblox is kind of not making things any better for themselves. Their PR stuff has been a disaster. David Baszucki has done a couple of interviews that were not good.
The Heated Fork podcast with the New York Times specifically stands out in my mind. I want to know your thoughts on that. But for me as a parent, and my children do not play Roblox, but if I was a parent whose child was playing Roblox, he did not give me the confidence to think that he is doing anything to keep my child safe on that platform. I personally think he came off as quite arrogant. And it left me with a really bad taste in my mouth. So how did you interpret David on this podcast?
When somebody tells you who they are, you should listen.
Yeah.
And he has told us. Now, I don't know David at all. I actually don't intend any personal commentary. I respect the fact that he's in a difficult position.
Mm-hmm.
So when I say when somebody tells you who they are, you should listen, I mean that in the context of him representing the corporation that he is the chief executive of.
Yes, and the co-founder of.
Yes, that's right. He is telling us who they are.
Mm-hmm.
He is telling us who Roblox is very clearly. He was very defensive and clearly angered by the New York Times podcast guys asking him some very basic questions.
Yeah.
And he didn't answer the questions. Because one of the guys was asking him, hey, when is it going to be safe? I've got a young kid. When is it going to be safe for my kid to play? And then David got upset and didn't answer the question. Now, the answer to the question should be, well, it's safe to play right now because of the following reasons and because of all the work we do to make sure that it's safe for your kid. But that was not the answer. There was no answer.
Yeah.
And so there's lots of games to play. So let's just not play Roblox. Let's allow them to fail financially by not playing Roblox, and they will become less of a risk to the other kids of whose parents don't know about Roblox.
Mm-hmm.
Millions and millions of kids most likely fall into that category. And let's help them fail by not supporting them.
I love that idea. And currently, my child does not want to support them. He would like to support Minecraft. So, are you able to tell us a little bit about what is different between Roblox and Minecraft?
Yes. Minecraft costs money.
Yes.
And because of that, it can be and has been designed as being safe for kids. Because the free stuff like Roblox, they have to maximize eyeball time. That's probably one of the reasons why they don't hide the filtered games, because that's very attractive to look at.
Mm-hmm.
So you spend more time, you're more interested in the game. Minecraft, you have to pay out of the gate to play the game. They don't have the incentive of maximizing eyeball time. They have the incentive of maximizing the quality of the game for the base of players that pay money. And so Microsoft owns Minecraft, and they've done a nice job at building a system that respects parental authority and that respects kids' safety. Now, there's a very important and very confusing thing to know about Minecraft. Is that
Okay, tell us.
there's two versions of Minecraft. There's the old legacy version called Java, and there's the new version called Bedrock.
Oh, okay.
Java doesn't have the parental controls. It doesn't have all the things. Bedrock does. So Bedrock is tied into the Microsoft family account system, where you can have parental controls across your Windows computers and across your Xbox and across Minecraft. And Java does not. And so you'll find Java mostly on computers when you play on an actual computer versus like a console.
Yeah, the Nintendo
or a phone,
Switch.
Or the Switch. Yeah. So like the Switch has Bedrock. So the Switch has the kosher one. The Windows PCs. Yeah, exactly. Switch and Nintendo, cheers to Nintendo. Like they're one of the companies that's really doing it right. Like amazing stuff. The Windows PC, the Mac, and then Linux. I mean, not that many people have Linux at home, but those three, you can get both versions. And so you have to be careful.
Is there a chat feature on Minecraft? Bedrock.
Yes. So you have to, I have a guide on my website that shows parents how to set it up so that the chat gets turned off. And if you get their education edition, it turns off chat and turns off multiplayer by default.
Oh, okay. That's great.
So Minecraft can be a single player game with there's no strangers. It's just you. It's just your kid.
I like that.
And they're building blocks and they're building castles and they're building stuff and they're doing Minecraft. That's like totally safe. If your kid is playing Minecraft in single player mode and chat, well, there's no chat because there's nobody to chat with. Good to go.
Okay.
Now, but then your kid comes and he's like, oh, but I want to play Minecraft with my friends. Okay. So Minecraft has what they call private realms. And I believe they're $8 a month. You know, again, you got to pay, right? Free is risky. Paid is it's funny how that goes, but that's kind of a good filter. Like if something is free, you should be like, what? Nothing's free. What
social media platforms, everybody, pay attention.
Yes, right. Yeah, free Instagram and free Gmail and all that.
Exactly.
And so, private realms, $8 a month, and it's all parental controlled. You can approve who they can play with, so you can say, hey, tomorrow at school, get your friends the phone number for their parents and get their username.
Okay.
And then now we know that, Billy from school is username XYZ, and we're going to get him connected in. And then we know who you're playing with. So we're not playing with anonymous strangers. We're playing with Billy from school.
So important.
Yeah. So that's the simplest thing. There's a ton of options and things to know. And so I would recommend that parents go through my Minecraft article And I
Mhm.
have installation guides that are platform specific. So if you're playing on Xbox, here's the setup. If you're playing on iPhone, here's the setup. Minecraft is doing it right. So
Good.
I'm a fan of Minecraft.
We love hearing that. I get asked often in regard to my children and their gaming, and I always told my eldest that when you turn 8, we will look into Minecraft. And until then, you can read the books, you can watch the movie, you can buy the toys. And that way, when you get old enough to play Minecraft, in my opinion, you'll be ready to go. You'll already know the characters and the realms, and that really worked for me. So just an example of what other parents can do if your children start talking about games early on and they're not quite ready. There's other ways that they can still be involved and learn about them without actually handing them over the game and a controller. That worked really well for my family.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's awesome.
I
And it,
also,
yeah.
I feel like in regard to the Roblox conversation, the one thing we missed was the new safety implementations that they talked about in 2025 that I think are being released early this year, specifically the new age estimation tools and the facial scanning device. What are these systems supposed to do, and what are their limitations?
So, yeah, good question. So, what they're supposed to do, okay, so the premise is that if we can determine the age of the kids, which by the way requires determining the age of everybody,
Mm.
because you have to determine who is not a kid and who is a kid.
Thank you for saying that. So many people forget about that. Thank you.
Yes, age verification requires verifying everybody.
Yes.
So, how do you do that? It's very difficult. In some cases, not really feasible at all. And so some of these companies are coming up with ways. And there's actually an ecosystem of companies that have started to pop up around helping software companies do this.
Okay, so like third party, like Roblox would hire a third party company
Yeah.
to do their data and facial scanning.
Yeah. And so
Okay.
a popular one, and I don't remember the name of the company specifically, but it's the company that Discord uses. So Discord is doing the same thing.
Okay.
And I want to start there because it illustrates the problem. Discord had people record their driver's license. And then if you're a kid, you can put your parents' ID.
Yeah.
And that system got hacked. And so now we have the usernames of children with their home address and whatever chat history and other account details are associated, potentially phone numbers that are public.
Yeah.
So we're trying to protect the kids, but we just gave all their personal information to the public.
It's a big deal. I want to just red flag this conversation in regard to like data and keeping our kids safe and digital footprints. It is a big deal to put this information online and to these companies or third party companies.
It really is. I used to consult with and help an intelligence agency in the US called the NSA. And the NSA is famous for stealing everybody's information all the time.
Great.
So Edward Snowden demonstrated that publicly to the world. So I'm not exposing anything here. This Edward Snowden told us what was going on.
Yep.
And the very short version of that is that every phone call gets listened to and recorded. Every email gets recorded. Every piece of internet traffic, every bit or byte that transfers across a wire is grabbed and recorded. And it's not just the NSA that's doing it, but they're probably the biggest one. To the effect that they actually, their headquarters is in Maryland, and they have so many servers in their data centers that they were causing brownouts in Baltimore.
Wow.
And so they had to expand and move to Texas and Hawaii and Utah to get more power so they could store all of our stuff without warrants or subpoenas. And so I have learned, and I'll suggest here to others to consider that it's important for us to know, and it's important for us to teach our kids that if anything touches the internet, it is public.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what anybody says about whether or not it's public. If it touches a computer or a wire that doesn't belong to you in your house, it's no longer yours. It belongs to somebody else. And if it's worthy, if it's valuable, it will get stolen or misused at some point in time. So, because it never goes away.
Yeah.
The internet is forever, and the internet is public. And that is a massive education opportunity for our kids. So as kids start to come online, now lots of kids are online, but let's just say that you have young kids and then you're thinking, okay, I'm going to give my kid internet access. It's a fundamental lesson that should accompany that access is that every single thing is public. If you send a photo, if you type a word, if you have a thought, it's going into your phone, right? And so when you go through age verification and you scan your face or you upload your ID or you upload the ID of your parents, that is public. Now, these companies will say that it's not, but I'm here to tell you that it is.
Yes. That they're going to delete it immediately, right? That's usually what they say.
And now
they don't store it.
Yeah, and actually the Discord company said that. They said that they don't store it. Well, it turns out that they did, and it got stolen.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go buy that data right now, by the way. It's for sale.
Oof.
And so it's easy to take for granted that, like, I want to play a game. It just popped up and asked for my face. Let me click allow because I want to play the game. What are you trading when you do that? How important is privacy? So something to consider is that, okay, one of my philosophies is that safety and privacy are both a means to an end. They are not the end.
Mm-hmm.
They are tools that enable more. So when you have safety and you have privacy, you then can have freedom.
I'm so glad you said this because it's sitting right in front of me. One of my favorite quotes from you. You said, history shows that when we trade freedom for safety, we lose both. And I wanted you to expand on that specifically. And I know we're talking about Roblox, but Roblox and the facial scanning makes me think about the Australian social media ban, other countries pushing for the social media ban, implementing bans of their own, and it all kind of works together. So again, I just want to say, I want to read your quote. History shows that when we trade freedom for safety, we lose both. So when it comes to this facial recognition system, these, digital IDs people are talking about, what does it mean, Ben? What is the problem?
If you give information about yourself to strangers, they can use that information however they please. When you give a lot of information to yourself to strangers, they can really leverage that to control you. What you buy, what you say, where you go, where you're allowed to live, what relationships you're allowed to have, where you're allowed to work. We already live in a society where privacy has been lost.
Yes.
So every camera you see at every street intersection is creating breadcrumb trails of your movements everywhere you go that police can access as they please.
Mm-hmm.
Every phone call you make can be listened to forever in the future. Every text message, everything. So these things are already done. They're already gone. The any system that stores data about you, any of the social media systems, any of the email systems, any of the websites you visit, any of the purchases you make, those all have historical records that get given to police whenever they're asked for. Now, most people would say, well, I'm not a criminal and I have nothing to hide. In the UK right now, today, on average, there's 33 people a day that are arrested for social media posts. For saying words. They are taken from their homes, away from their families, and put into cages. We saw this during COVID. We saw people getting their bank accounts taken away for having unpopular opinions. If your bank account gets taken away, you die, and your family dies because you can't eat.
Yes. You can't pay rent. You can't.
And if you live in a place where it's cold, you freeze.
Yes.
And this happened in Canada where it's cold.
Just a little.
Yeah, a little chilly. And opinions that are okay today may not be okay tomorrow. And whenever you centralize information about yourself, whoever is in charge in the future that can access that information can use it however they please. There's even this has been going on for, all of human history. This isn't just a computer thing. So, for example, in 1940, the United States conducted a census. And when they conducted that census, they created privacy laws that said that this census data cannot be used for anything other than the census. And if it is used, there's jail time and there's a big fine.
Yep.
And it was considered at the time one of the most restrictive and effective privacy policies, or privacy regulations to protect this data, because it's all kinds of stuff like what's your family background, where do you live, like how many people, what kind of income, all kinds of stuff.
When you take this position, you're a child online safety advocate, you're a cybersecurity expert. When you take this position of being skeptical or cautious regarding these facial scans, regarding banning minors from social media, what do you hear from your audience online? Are they surprised at your take that maybe this isn't the best way to go about things?
Yeah, it's kind of half and half.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people find it refreshing to have an alternative viewpoint to consider. And then some people are very upset that at the idea that their government, of which they have no consensual relationship with, it's just based on where they're born. They're upset at the fact that their government is anything but good.
Yeah.
And that's why I say the government's a system. The government is not people.
Yeah.
It's a system. It's a regulatory system. And if you give a regulatory system personal details, it's going to regulate your personal details. That's what it does by design. So don't give the system your personal details if you don't have to. And so when a game or when a social media company says, hey, we need your ID in order to proceed, you don't have to do it. You don't have to take it for granted that you should just proceed. That is a red flag that you should stop and say, is it worth risking the private information of my children and of myself so that we can play this one game?
Yes.
Which, and for Roblox, it's a double whammy because it's not even safe to begin with.
Yeah, and then you're giving, this company your kids' biometric data and putting it who knows where, right?
Yeah.
It's not just the facial scan. There is so much more to it, and I think that is why it's so important that you are here, that we continue these conversations. If there was one takeaway for new listeners, parents, in regard to this conversation, what do you want to leave them with, Ben?
Two things. You said one, but I'll give you two.
I like you. Go ahead.
So, so the first one is a concept and the second one is an action. So
Okay.
the concept is take nothing for granted. Take nothing at face value when it's attached to the internet.
Mhm.
There's just time after time, we've been shown that that's a dangerous thing to do. The second thing is no devices in bedrooms or bathrooms.
Yes.
So a lot of the stuff that occurs where kids get harmed occurs late at night in the bedroom. And so if there's computers, phones, gaming consoles, if there's a thing that is connected to the internet, it is safest and least risky to have that thing be in a common area of the home, like the living room or a gaming room, somewhere where there's foot traffic,
Yes.
so that there are supervisory eyeballs. Because to be realistic, we all know as parents that if we're too busy to sit there on the couch and just stare at them and watch them play this game for 3
Of
hours on
course.
end, right? And so you put it in a place where they know, the kid knows that I'm in a public place and the parents are walking by and they can hear and they can glance. I'd say those things are the most important to consider.
I completely agree. Go back to the, 90s, early 2000s when we all had the computers in the living room, right? There was no
Yeah.
there was no hiding from mom and dad and that dial tone. That's for sure, right, Ben?
Yes.
Well, Ben, I want
I
to
can hear the
thank
noise.
you.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for taking the time to be here today and help us all better understand, privacy and Roblox, why it's problematic, and why some of the quote unquote safety features they are implementing are also problematic. So, as a reminder, everyone, you can find Ben at the Family IT Guy across all social media platforms. And I want to stress that his website, which is thefamilyitguy.com, is full of resources for parents to help us all navigate the digital age. So definitely check that out. He also has a podcast. You could probably guess the name, The Family IT Guy. So basically, if you remember The Family IT Guy, you will find Ben. And I will link everything in the show notes. So if this episode was helpful, take a second to follow Parents Uncharted, leave a review, share it with a group chat of parents who you're constantly sending your Instagram reels to. It helps more families find Ben, myself, and these conversations. So I'm Sarah Adams, also known as Mom Uncharted online, and I'll see you here next week. Thanks for being here, Ben.
Thank you.